Hello guys, hey, it's Dale Walker back, working on my little enclosed trailer. This is part 2, I guess. We had severe winds, we have a dust storm, it's just terrible around here. Housing track in the back. Anyway, so I got my wheel vise in, similar to this one on my little open trailer. One of my best friends is going to buy this one from me for his bikes. And anyway, I got the Harbor Freight, only 80 bucks. I don't know, it's about 100 bucks delivered. Anyway, I already laid it out. Approximately here's where the one rail's going to go. That's stationary. The 4 holes over there is for the clamping mechanisms both together. The floor is 3/4 inch or thereabouts, probably a hair under. And yeah, I already got my what did I use? I used 2.5. They're 3/8 course bolts. Okay, 2.5 inches long. And what I'm going to do, instead of making a bunch of metal plates, I just went to Home Depot and I bought a 1x12, which is actually about 3/4 by 11.5 or so. And I'm just doubling up the floor. And we're going to use the long bolts, nylocks, and large flat washers. Okay, so this is this support board is going to go under the 4 bolts on the mechanism that squeezes against the tire there, right there underneath. So what I'm going to do, I already pre-drilled a series of where I want to put some screws, and I'm going to put white glue all on this board. And I'm going to get in there and screw it to the floor, and hopefully the screws don't come through. They're 1.25 inches, they shouldn't. They should be flush. Just to hold it in place and white glue it to the floor. You know white glue, when that stuff dries, it's part of the floor. So we're going to have an 1.5 inch thickness, and we'll just snug down the flat washers against that instead of using metal. It'll be plenty strong, support the floor. So that's what I'm doing right now, starting on this. Okay guys, for the right hand wheel vise chock, it's stationary. The left hand's the pushing side. I'm going right near a frame tube under the trailer, so I'm going on each side of the frame tube. I'm going to cut 2 10-inch pieces. The pattern's about, there's 6 holes here, here, and here. I'm just going to cut 2 10-inch pieces, put it on each side of the frame tube, screw it down. Probably just 4 screws on this, glue it to the bottom of the floor for each one, and when we get that done. Alright guys, I'm under the trailer. I got these screwed down flush against the floor. And here's the front too. You can see them both. Okay, this is the right hand wheel chock. That's the pushing side over there. Doubled up the floor now, it's 1.5 inches thick. Don't need metal, it's a lot easier to deal with. Cheaper, simple. Make sure you white glue it down to the floor. Okay, like I said, I already had the bike in here. I knew where the wheels needed to go. So here's the 6 holes by that felt pen mark. That's the right hand. This piece here, the tire goes against. Pushing side is the left, this is the right. So what we're going to do is I already fit all those, made sure the bolts slide in and out nice. Not too loose, not too tight. There's the pushing for over here. I don't know if you can see it. I think you can. Anyway, so now we're going to just use those as a guide. Since I screwed the backing plates under the trailer, they can't go anywhere. Use a 1/2 inch drill. Use these as a guide. And slowly drill your holes so you don't split the wood. Okay, I got the holes all the way completely drilled through the second board on the bottom, and you want to just go up and down with the drill bit as straight as you can. Give it a little bit of clearance so it doesn't bind up on the shoulder, so you can get the bolt in and out. And the holes are a little oversized in these plates anyway, so you have a little wiggle room. But yeah, just make sure they're a good fit and so on. So now we're going to go ahead and set these plates on here with flat washers, poke them all the way down through, and then it's time to bolt them up. What did I do? I went for a 5.5 inch gap from rubber about 5 3/4 to 5 1/2. I made it even, which turned out to be 9 inches on each side of the outside of the vise here. And I painstakingly played with it to get the holes just right where it's within 1/8 of an inch. And that's plenty. And then I started with about a 2-inch right there adjustment so I can still run it in flush. And then I got the whole thing to push it, which is not going to be. It's only going to be probably a 1/2 inch at the most that way, and pushing in is only going to be like an inch or so, and it'd be tight against the tire. So let me get these in and get the bolts pulled through, and we'll go to the next step. Alright guys, I got all the bolts pushed in all the way. They have a little teeny bit of wiggle room, and you got to remember this is how run out, you know, it slides, it moves. But yeah, if you split the difference now, I got it adjusted, and it's like 5 1/4. Pretty damn straight, parallel, looks nice. I'll put the crossbar in when I'm done. Anyway, so here's what I'm using on the bottom. 1 5/8, 1/2 inch hole, fender washer with nylocks. And if you have a 3/4 inch floor, with the 1x that I showed you I put underneath, this is going to go through, and you're going to have about a 1/4 inch of bolt sticking out probably when it's tight, which is perfect. So I'm going to crawl under there, I'm going to get my Lisa to hold that, and I'm going to bolt this thing down. Alright guys, it's all torqued down. It's straight as you can get it. It's got wiggle room. It's like right now 5 1/4 between here. We got about 2 inches to go either way, or to push it out more for wider tires. This is still much wider than any 17 or any bike really, unless you have a TW 200. Anyway, so then on my other trailer here, from the stop where the tire would contact straight over with the straight edge, we welded in these hooks here, okay, and they're about 35 inches from the face of this right here straight back. Put a square on it, about 35 inches, and that seems to be, I go from this to the foot peg bracket on the bike, and it works on pretty much any bike. It can be a short wheelbase MT09 or whatever, 56 inches, 57, clear up to, you know, a 58, 59, 60 inch bike, and it's still a real nice angle. So I did kind of the same thing here. I'm going to rotate these a little bit of an angle. This one of course has to be in from the side more because I got the bike shifted this way quite a bit so I can walk in between. But these are also right at about 35 inches to 35 1/4 inches to the hoop, and I got them at a slight angle so they won't be yanking on the thing, you know, torquing on one side when you ratchet it down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make some backing plates. I am going to use metal here. There's a little clearance. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch by 1 1/2 inch, I think is what I bought. And I'm making, on this side, a 6-inch plate. I'm going to do that right now and then show it to you. Okay, so I got a, yeah, it's 1/4 by 1 1/2, I believe. Yes. And I cut it just a hair over 6 inches. It's square. So now I'm going to take it over to my disc sander and my deburring wheel, clean the edges up and stuff. And then I'm going to come in 3/4 of an inch from each end and put a bolt and a bolt through the floor. To be 2 extra bolts with just a flat washer under it to tighten this down on the floor. And then I'll use my existing holes, and I can drill right through the holes because it's hard to hit it with steel. So I will put 2 extra bolts, and that'll just snug it down against the floor. The other side I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, but this is for the side by the door. So let me get started on that, and let me get that all done, and I'll show it to you. Alright guys, I got a center punched 3/4 in from the edge on each end, centered the best I can, I already deburred and rounded the edges, so I'm going to start with the 1/8 inch drill bit and make that a pilot hole. And then we'll go to 1/4 inch and maybe 1 drill bit size or number drill, so the bolts, you're not fighting it. You don't want them loose, but you want them to slide through without a bind. Alright guys, well here's the left-hand side backing plate where the eyelet goes for the tie down to go to the bike. Here is the front support board. The other two, sorry about this, this is hard, I'm laying upside down. There's the other two all bolted up, 1 5/8 flat washers, 3/8 bolts, 2.5 inch nylocks, and then over here is, let me see if I can just turn this. I don't know if I'm going to be upside down, I have no idea. Yeah, they're here. That's the other backing plate for the other one, eyelet, tie down eyelet. So we got about a 6 inch backing plate on each side and 4 1/4 inch bolts with washers. That thing ain't moving anywhere. Plus, nearby, the floor is screwed down to this next beam. So that's a good thing, all the way across. Alright guys, the final step, which I hate doing, but I went ahead and did it, is I bed linered using this Duplicolor bed liner I've used before. It used to be a blue can, it was thicker, now it's kind of thinner. So, it's not perfect, but let me show you. Yeah, so basically, oh, this is just the water spots from the frame. They already sprayed this with some kind of a good sealer. But I did all the plywood underneath, all the braces I put in it. I did the whole bottom of the trailer right now. And again, this is a 5 by 10, and it took about 4 cans. Did all underneath, I did all the way into the back past the axle, every part, every bolt, every nut. Alright, I'm inside the trailer. I got the little hanger I used off the old safety chains that I'm not going to use. Here's the pin I'm going to be using to pin the ramp in the hole right there. Okay, no chains, no mess. There's my spare again where I mounted it. Got the big light in here, guys, so you can see something. We got weather, this thing's tucked against my shop door. Okay, what I did here to hold this ramp, you see the double ramp, see the feet, it lays nice and flat. You can see both of them right there. It's the whole length. Okay, folded. So I ran a same flat washer in their head of a 1/4 inch, 1.5 inch bolt. Countersunk the hole in the floor a little bit because it's 3/4. Used a thin jam nut just flush with the bottom so it doesn't hit on the ramp. That's permanent. It sticks through, and you got the wing nut, and this holds the whole ramp in place when you're driving. Okay, that's what the little pliers are for, in case you can't get it out. Alright, so here it is. Here's what it looks like inside. It's all bolted up. It's beautiful. Shifted to this way about 6 inches so I can walk on this side of the bike when I'm loading it. Here are my tie down points coming at an angle, slight angle. The other 2 bolts goes through the backup plate I showed you, 1/4 inch, 1.5 inch wide. 4 bolts going through it, including the 2 with the tie down. Same on this side. Well, this does it for part 2. On a sunny day, I'll get the bike back in here and I'll tie it down. And then I will be doing a few little things, maybe a little crate there on the floor. Could put a few little things in, maybe my helmet or something, and I'll make a hanger for the tie downs or something. But this is going to be a plain Jane. I'm not painting the floor. You know what I mean? It's just functional, and it's a 1 bike deal, and it's going to pull behind our Subaru Outback just fine, and I'll be getting 20 to 22 miles per gallon with that thing. Out of sight, out of mind. I love this trailer right here. This has worked wonderful for years. But sometimes I take a bike down to Corbin's and I could do the car thing instead of the truck thing, and you know what I mean. It's locked up and nobody sees it. All right, that's going to do part 2. Hope you enjoyed it. Learned something about trailers. All right, catch you later, guys. Give me a thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next video. Okay, and you guys take care. And God bless. Over and out.